going to not be ready for the start of camp with an injury, something like that?
No, Max Shemaiah was medically disqualified, which is very unfortunate for him and us. He was a really good football player. I'm not going to get into specifics, but he was a fine young man, is a fine young man, and is going to have tremendous success in whatever he wants to do. Extremely bright, smart, intelligent. Got a lot going for him. Jalen Dickerson will be out for the season. He had an unusual bone growth on his femur, which created a labrum in his hip. I've been coaching over 20 years, and this young man has had two of the most unusual situations as far as with his shoulder and now with his hip. Just unusual, but a lot of pain, and he had surgery. He feels good. He will be cleared for spring practice. He'll be back. It's just a very unfortunate situation for him. Tyquan Johnson has qualified and will report August 1st, and we feel really good about where Jaquez Sorrells is at this time.
Is that the first day of practice, August 1?
Mm-hmm. Oh, we report August 1, August 2nd is the first day of practice, yeah.
Any position changes you've decided on recently?
No, AJ will play both running back and defensive back, and right now we don't plan anything as far as positionally. Obviously, leading up to camp, there may be one or two things we might want to look at as far as where we are, but we're pretty status quo from spring right now.
Well, talked to Coach Saban earlier, and he was talking about how the two of you first met and the process of hiring you and what you brought to his program. What about the effect that moment had on your life and getting to work for him, and also leading you to where you are right now?
Well, I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't the opportunities that he gave me at a very young age. I'd worked at Auburn as a graduate assistant under Jimbo Fisher, who was a quarterback coach. I worked on the defensive side of the ball for Brother Oliver, but was in Atlanta. They were playing in the Peach Bowl in their first year at LSU, and I went to a practice and just met Coach and just started talking to him and got along really well. And about 2 months later, I get a phone call coming to interview for LSU. So it's amazing how things work out in life, and it certainly changed my career for having the opportunity, then the responsibility. Coach linebackers for 1 year, then became the coordinator for 3, and then another year down at the Miami Dolphins. But he's impacted my career as much as anyone as far as the detail and the organization of every facet in your organization and what you've got to be able to do to be successful. And the consistency in his success has been amazing. When you're not a head coach and you haven't been a head coach before, you think you got all the answers until you actually sit behind the desk and you realize there's a lot going on and there's a lot of different moving parts in your organization. And I marvel at the consistency that his program has had.
You mentioned Tyquan Johnson. Just what is he able to bring to you?
Well, he's a guy we were really excited about 2 years ago. We had him in camp. He earned his scholarship when he came in. He's a big guy that runs extremely well on the top end. He can stick his foot in the ground. He caught the ball well. So we'll see where he is, August 2nd.
How would you gauge this summertime off-season bonding of the team, work ethic, leaders emerging, sort of taking the younger guys by the neck and saying, "Follow me"?
Well, I think, Phil, I had the seniors out to my house on Monday and talking to those guys. I've been very pleased with this group. You think about this group, a lot of these guys came to us off a 3-win season, not a very good circumstance at the University of South Carolina. And there's multiple guys that are 4-year starters, 3-year starters, 2-year starters, a bunch of guys that played really good football for us. And I'm really excited about this group. They've done a really nice job. I really challenged our entire team in the off-season program to leave no doubt about the things that take no talent. The effort, the toughness, the discipline, the ability to compete and have a competitive edge, a team-first mentality. And this group's done a good job of holding our football team accountable. And I've been very pleased to this point. Again, we've got to continue this through training camp and the season. But to this point, we've been pretty pleased.
Hypothetically, Will, if you were to maybe add another player before camp starts, during camp, how would that work from a depth chart perspective? Do they have to come in and work as hard as everybody else?
Everybody's got to earn their keep in our organization. That's something we tell everybody.
Will, Connor Shaw said a couple weeks ago, this schedule kind of reminds him of the 2012 season. Just as a competitor, what is it like to be able to go up against, maybe the best schedule, toughest schedule in the country?
I love it. That's why you come to the Southeastern Conference, why you come to South Carolina. We play a bunch of good teams. You know what's going to be hard again next year? We got A&M coming to our place, and we're going to Baton Rouge. So, at the end of the year, guys, it's hard every single year, but we embrace it. It's an opportunity to take a step forward in our program. an opportunity to play in the biggest lights there are in college football, and we're looking forward to it. I know our guys are excited.
Jake's in position to break a lot of school records this year. What does he need to do to sort of cement his legacy here?
Well, I think, the biggest thing is just be more consistent with the football. I think it all boils down to that, and that's where we've got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. All 14 interceptions weren't on Jake, but we've got to do a better job in the red zone. We got to do a better job overall. We also had over 20 drops, and so momentum changing in the game drops. That changed the complexion of the game with a struggling defense. It needs a little confidence and a little cushion. So, again, I think the biggest thing and the biggest thing I've told Jake as far as let's just take care of the football, be more consistent with our decision making and taking care of the ball. And he's worked extremely hard in the offseason. I'm looking forward to seeing him play his senior year.
Well, did you have a chance to talk to any of the Mannings about Jake's success down there at the camp, and what do you think about how that translates into his progress in the offseason?
Well, again, I think a lot of the situation from a camp setting wise goes back to fundamentals and footwork, and that's something he's worked hard on in the offseason. Archie and Cooper both text me about how well he was doing down there, and I really appreciate that. And they run a wonderful camp. That's a great fundamental camp for young quarterbacks and aspiring guys coming through. So, but it was good to hear from those guys, and I'm glad to have him have the success he had.
With that, Jalen, how much kind of extra pressure does that put on some of those freshman defensive backs to sort of have to step in?
We told those guys in the recruiting process, you're going to play. Their role will be defined in training camp about how well they catch on, how well they play at a high tempo, and how productive they can be as players. But based on all the information I'm hearing, I'm very excited about them all.
Mentally, how is Jalen dealing with another physical setback?
Unbelievable, really. Brian Evers made the comment we were flying over here about, man, Coach, he's such a positive guy, and he's handling this the right way. And I told him, I said, I'd be pissed at the world. I mean, right now, going through what he's going through. And again, that guy's been coaching 20 years. I've never heard of these two surgeries. And it's just an unfortunate situation, but he's going to be fine, and he's going to have an opportunity to get back out there during the spring ball.
Will, how will you rep your backups through camp? When do you want to have a definite number 2 quarterback before the season?
Well, we'll have a 10th scrimmage on the 10th practice and another one on the 15th practice. And so hopefully, after that 15th practice, if we start whittling down, we'll have another couple of fundamental practices before we start on North Carolina.
Well, how does
So in that period frame, we'd like to probably have something there.
how does Jamel Cook factor in at safety now?
Yeah,
now that he's
Jamel's made
eligible?
some strides in the offseason, I think. Came along this spring. His biggest challenge was his consistency in his performance, just being consistent every single day. He did some really good things at times and some not so good things. So really challenging him on that, but I think he's in better shape than he was when he first came in. I think that was a huge challenge for him. And I'm obviously a guy that we're counting on.
Do you see Zach Pickens making an immediate impact, or is it going to
Well,
take
again,
a little bit?
in all young players, their roles are going to be defined in training camp. And some older players, as far as how much they're going to play, is how well can we depend on them to go play at a high level. And I'm really going to put a lot of pressure on our 5 seniors up front: Javon Kinlaw and Kier Thomas and Kobe Smith and Danny Fennell and Dennis Walton. We need those 5 guys to play well, and they should. They're good football players, and they need to play well, and they need to help bring these other guys along. And again, I think we've recruited well. Ricky's a year older, JJ's a year older, Aaron Sterling's a year older, Jabari Ellis, Devontae Davis, Tyreek Johnson, get him back off the knee, Zach Pickens and Joe Anderson. And we need those guys to keep coming along for us.
Can you talk about the 2 grad transfers who've announced that they're joining your program?
Not at this time.
Coach, you recently talked about in a recent podcast is the best team that you've had since you've been here in Carolina. Why do you feel that way?
Well, I just you got a veteran quarterback returning. I think we've recruited very well. We've got really good quality depth on our football team. I look at our senior class, and you look at guys like Brian Edwards, who's going to probably leave South Carolina with every receiving record there is. Donnell Stanley, who's a 4-year starter. Brian's a 4-year starter. Jake's a 4-year starter. I'm going to throw Cedarius Hutcherson in there. He's going to be a 3-year starter and a really good football player. More quality depth on the offensive line. Kiel Pollard and Kyle Markway. And Kyle's a junior, but I'm going to throw him in that category of guys that are very dependable players that are going to be very productive for us. I think we've recruited well at the receiver position. You look at the 5 seniors on the defensive line, along with the depth that we've recruited there. We need to be more consistent at linebacker. We weren't very consistent at linebacker last year. We need more consistent play. We do have our little thin and a little, I guess I'm just thin's probably the best word in the secondary, but we're really talented back there. And I like the guys we got.
Well,
you
looking
see
at Jay Urick, played receiver
Yeah.
in the spring. He's listed as a QB on the roster, but will he be repping
Yeah, he's
more?
going to rep more at the receiver position. We're going to keep his hand at quarterback, but Jay's worked extremely hard this summer to, he's not a natural catcher. He's worked extremely hard on the jugs as far as catching the ball more naturally, running more routes, and there's nobody's going to work harder than Jay. I can assure you of that.
And same thing with AJ. Do you like him as both guys, or will he
Yeah,
mostly be a
he can
running
handle
back?
both. He can handle both, and we'll see as we continue to trend moving forward.
What did you see the preparation heading into this camp, and just the feedback of just the new facility, being able to get things done? What have you heard so far, and where do you feel like you guys are going to be heading into this training camp compared to years past?
Well, TJ and I were having a conversation coming over here about how much things have changed in our time going on our fourth season, but the facility's been a huge part, number one, in recruiting, because people see an investment in what you're trying to do, and you're trying to create a championship culture within your organization. But what it's really helped as much thing is the culture of our team. You go in there in January and you got 30 guys in there working out on a Saturday morning. They're not supposed to be in there, but they're there, and they want to be in the building. They want to be around you. The dynamics of the building are much better than before, because our facilities before were nice, but they were separated. I never saw the players. Now I have lunch and breakfast with the players all the time, and we talk to them. We talk about how their families are doing. I mean, it's just a much better situation for us, and it's been a huge shot in the arm for our program. We're going to have a $22 million investment into Williams-Brice Stadium after the season. It's going to create a better game day atmosphere for our fans. It's going to be a really nice situation for everybody that's a Gamecock. So we're moving in the right direction, and I'm excited about Coach Tanner and the support that we've gotten from our board.
Beyond the top line guys, how do you feel with the depth at wide receiver? And do you feel like there's a clear picture behind those guys, or is it a little bit cloudy at this juncture?
No, I think that there's a lot of competition there. I mean, Brian, obviously, and Shy have been two guys that distance those. Or Trey Smith's going to be back. He's going to be back full speed. We really hurt not having him last year. Rendricus Davis is healthy for the first time in 2 years and has had a really good summer. Josh Fan has had a fantastic summer. We really challenged him as far as getting stronger in the weight room and doing the things you've got to do to be successful. And he's answered all of those things and really come on for us. Chavis Dawkins, as a senior, has been a very dependable guy for us. Chad Terrell's been a guy that we've been excited about. So I'm just, Jay Urick's going to be a part of that equation as well. So, again, we've got a lot of competition there. It's going to be good for us. And then we got two young guys, Xavier Leggett and Kevion Mullins, who are on campus, and then Taekwon will join us in August.
With Brian Holinsky, it seems like he's got a lot going on away from the football field. Do you worry about that for a freshman player, and how does he handle that? How does he balance that with everything that he's got going on with the football program?
I think anything that's really important to your life, that drives you in life, you don't need to keep that away from somebody. And obviously, his foundation, his family's foundation, is very important to him and to us as well. But when football season starts, we'll be full speed football and those sort of things. But I'm excited that he's able to promote and help the awareness of mental health, and that's very important.
You think he handles all of that well with
I think he handles it extremely well. He's mature beyond his years.
What did you say to Brian McClendon in his first year as full-time offensive coordinator? What's this offense have to do to, achieve its full potential this season?
Well, we improved about a touchdown a game, about 100 yards a game, 8 more snaps a game. The tempo did help us.
Mm-hmm.
The inconsistencies catching the football, which guys, let's go back and look at it. There's some touchdowns left out there. There's some momentum-changing games, and Brian didn't drop them. So you look at that in the red zone and the amount of turnover. Those are some things that I felt like we had a lot of self-inflicted issues. We still haven't found that consistent runner that's been able to run through contact, that's been able to make a guy miss in space. And in our league, you're going to have to do that. That's part of the deal. And hopefully we'll continue to improve there moving forward. So, again, I thought Brian did a really good job. Obviously, we did not end the year the way we wanted to, and you get shut out in the bowl game. A little of that's on me. We were down 2-3 scores at one time. We could have kicked a field goal and just so we could score. But hell, I'm trying to win the game, so we needed to get 7 on the board. So, but didn't end the way we wanted to. But I thought there were some really good things that we did as the year moved forward.
Well, did you look at Rico Dowdle as the guy that can finally maybe take that next step? He's been
got to be healthy. Rico's very talented. He's got to be healthy. You watch Rico in the weight room, you watch him in workouts, and athletically is what you want. We just got to stay healthy.
How healthy is he right now? 100%.
100%.
Coach, I guess when you get this time of year, SEC Media Days and all that, do you personally get excited for this time of year?
Yeah, your juice starts flowing a little bit. You know, you get these microphones stuffed in your face. You guys are backing me up here. I got nowhere else to go. But no, your juices get flowing. It's getting close to kickoff. You know, I'll be honest with you. I get a little tired of vacation. I like working, and I like being in the building. I like being around the players, and I love training camp from the development standpoint of your team and getting ready for the season.
Kirby said yesterday, he was asked a question about your basketball skills. I think he said that he's undefeated against you.
Kirby?
Yeah, I think he said
that is 100% wrong. The guy lies.
That was
a lot.
But the question is, between you two, I mean, the competitive nature between you two, I mean, does it carry on 12 months out of the year?
Pretty much so. Has since we met him, but no, he's a good friend, a good coach, but there's a very competitive edge on both sides, and we need to do a better job on our side.
You mentioned Brian Edwards getting up there in the receiving records in every category.
Yeah.
What have you seen from him in his 3+ years and over this summer that makes you think he's ready to take the torch from Devo?
I think he's, every player can improve and get better, and obviously some things we talked in terms of Brian getting stronger and being more consistent catching the football, obviously the deep ball especially. But he has worked extremely hard this summer, really attacked the off season. I've seen a lot of guys that make a decision to come back and kind of cruise through the off season and cruise through summer, and that's not the right mentality, and that's not what Brian's done. Brian's in really good shape. He told me he's in the best shape he's felt like he's been in South Carolina going into this year, and I expect for him to have a great year.
Will, does Media Days, does it get a little less overwhelming the more trips you make down here?
Yeah, it does. It all slows down a little bit more. And I've been at 5 different spots, I mean, as a player and then 4 as a coach, so I know most of the guys in the building anyway, so. Some of them I want to see and some of them I don't.
You came to Media Days as a player?
Heck no. Are you kidding me?
I was just surprised.
We were bad. We weren't that bad. Come on, man. That's dumb question number 1.
He's trying to impress his new employer.
Who else is going to work for that athletic?
Look around.
Which one of your players is the best dressed today?
Oh, wow. I'm a little bit of a Tommy Bahama guy, and TJ's got the nice tie that I like. That's something like my wife won't let me wear that kind of stuff. Brian looks good. Jake's got these high waters. Yeah.
Y'all hide the socks?
Where's this? What is that?
Is that a quarterback thing? Is that a quarterback?
This is a sad thing, this is a true story. So if you notice, when we play a noon game, we don't wear suits to the stadium. And the whole reason is because the way our guys dress, they wear tight pants now. And we have walkthroughs at the hotel before we go to the stadium, and it's an intense walkthrough. I mean, it isn't a walkthrough, it's a run-through. Our guys can't do the walkthrough because of the pants. And the seniors came to me 2 years ago and said that we had guys rip their drawers doing the walkthrough. That's a true story. So now we allow them to wear whatever they wear at the stadium on a noon game. Because of your pants. And they wear those high waters.
All right, well, we'll wrap it.